And they said, we hear you have something you want to pitch us. And I said, I know you told my reps I couldn't pitch anything about Back to the Future. I told them to lie to you. That's exactly what I'm here to do. We're already in the room. Can I please just pitch you my idea?
If there was ever a statement that would make me go and watch Back to the Future for the umpteenth time immediately after hearing it, that was that statement. I'm feeling that it is a wonderful movie. You did mention reboots there. It does get talked about every so often. The idea that maybe, Back to the Future could have a reboot. People talk about it. These are conversations that we both know are happening. What are your thoughts on that? And I guess reboots in general as a thing.
Well, I think there's a question coming up about something about my career that's a surprise. Yeah. I will tell you, this wasn't the answer I thought about, but I will tell you something that nobody knows, which is I love that movie so much that a few years ago, I had a little heat in the TV space. I'd sold a bunch of pilots. And I said to my TV agent, I said, can you get me a meeting at Image Movers? I have an idea for a Back to the Future TV show. No, I've never talked about this publicly before. And so he called up, I think it's Jack Rabke, who is Zemeckis' producing partner, and their TV executive. And they said, listen, we'd love to meet with Jeff. We really want to be in the TV space in a big way. But if he wants to talk about Back to the Future, we shouldn't take the meeting. Bob doesn't want to do anything with Back to the Future. Don't bother. So my agent called me up. He was like, well, they said don't bother if it's about Back to the Future. And I said, lie to them. Tell them it's not about Back to the Future. Just get me in the room. So they get me in the room, and I'm sitting there with, Zemeckis' producing partner and the TV staff. And they said, we hear you have something you want to pitch us. And I said, I know you told my reps I couldn't pitch anything about Back to the Future. I told them to lie to you. That's exactly what I'm here to do. We're already in the room. Can I please just pitch you my idea? And so I love the brand so much, the story, the characters. I too want to see the story continue, but I don't want it to be in a way that is a disservice to the original one. I don't want a reboot. I don't want a reimagining. But how do you continue that story? And I had this idea. And this was when TV was just exploding and everybody, wanted TV for all these streaming services. It was the height of peak TV development. I said, we could do a sort of a 10 or 12 episode series, and we could do multiple seasons, but I would keep it to 10 or 12 per season. And I would start with Doc Brown as a young man working on the Manhattan Project, because there's allusions to that in the film. And the DeLorean from the future shows up. And in the DeLorean is Marty McFly's great granddaughter. And she says, the world has ended, and we know why. And we need you to come with me to help stop the end of the world. And basically it's almost like a sort of a quantum leap kind of pitch, where, as any fan of film and science fiction knows, the one thing you can't do in time travel is change the future, right? That's the one thing you're not supposed to do. Well, guess what? In Back to the Future, they did it. They broke the cardinal rule, right? At the 1957, 1954, I can't remember the exact year, whatever that year in the 50s was, when the I think it was like Romance Under the Sea, whatever that dance was, when Marty McFly was there and he got George McFly to punch Biff, they changed the future. So the end of the world has happened, and they've been able to map it all the way back to that dance. So everyone who was at that dance, their lives changed and their destinies were changed. So now in this TV show, a young Doc Brown and Marty McFly's great granddaughter, they now have to go and they need to find those people and their descendants and help them get back on the track they were supposed to be on to avert this reality ending catastrophe that's coming, right? They need to restore the timeline. So it's very like sort of TVA before the TVA even was the thing with Marvel. And it's their job. So each episode would be about either finding someone who was at the dance or a descendant of someone who was at the dance and helping them get back on track, helping them realize the destiny they were supposed to have in the hope that they would restore the timeline.
Wow. That's a hell of a pitch, man.
So what happened was I gave the pitch, and Jack said, I think it was Jack Rabke. He said, I really meant it when I said we didn't want to do anything about Back to the Future, but that is a fun pitch, and you pitch it well. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If you want to write a letter to Robert Zemeckis and pitch the show in the letter, I will make sure he gets it, but that's all I can do for you. And I said, great. So I wrote the letter. They sent it to Robert Zemeckis, and the response was, they love my passion for the property. So grateful that I took the time, but that Bob Zemeckis was adamant that he did not want to do anything with Back to the Future.
Man, I mean, yeah, that's fine. I do kind of feel like that, you know, of all the possible pictures that could have ever been presented as a way of doing Back to the Future, like justice, I'm sold, man. That's an incredible pitch, Jeff. I'm sorry we never got to see it.
Yeah, well, my gosh, Hollywood is littered with pitches and movies that never happen. I have so many scripts I've written. I mean, like I said, that X-Force script I think is probably one of my favorite scripts, and that will never get made. So I think it's a badge of honor to have an idea that you love, that you know would have worked but never was realized, because it's just a reminder that that storytelling and working in Hollywood, it's just a game of averages, right? You just got to keep swinging that bat. You got to keep trying. Hopefully you connect. Hopefully you knock something out of the park. And if you have these ideas that could have worked, that could have been home runs, then you're on the right track.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I just think, you know, I'm not going to go on about it because it's not happening. And obviously, you know, that's the best. But genuinely, that just it feels like it would have been very, very ahead of its time as well. I think that's the thing as well. It would have predated a lot of things that also then, you know, have played in that sandbox. So yeah, as a cool pitch. I
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this interview. I'd love it if you would check out some of the other interviews on our channel. They're all fascinating and unique trips to the movies with some wonderful, wonderful guests. And if you would like to find out more, do hit us up on our social channels. We are at Trip to Movies Pod. That's at Trip to Movies Pod on all social media with lovely content on there. And you can get in touch with us if you so wish. Thanks again.